progressors, welcome back to my channel. Today's topic is going to be about the top 3 luxury. Today's topic is going to be about the top 3 credit cards for luxury travel. If you love bags as much as I do, or luxury related things, chances are you also like to travel in luxury. You like the nice hotels, you like the better seats on the plane. So I thought this would be a good topic because I would like to say I'm pretty good with finance, and I know a lot, I research a lot, I research for fun. So today's topic is going to be about that. Instead of printing out like an outline, because I'm going to get into a lot of detail, I just decided to bring my laptop. So I'll try not to look down at it too often. But to get into the first subject, so I'm just going to split it into naming what the 3 credit cards are, giving you the pros and cons for those 3 credit cards, and then telling you things that apply to all of those credit cards, then going into my resources, my favorite places to look for information about credit cards that maybe is not covered in this video, or is not one of these 3 credit cards. Just general places I like to go find information. But anyway, alright, let's get into it. Alright, so my top 3 credit cards for luxury travel are Chase Sapphire Reserve, American Express Platinum, and Capital One Venture. Now, these 3 credit cards are built for travel. They're built for, 2 of these cards are actually built for luxury travel. Like, you get access to certain benefits because you have the card. So I'm going to start with the Chase Sapphire Reserve because, in my opinion, out of the 3, that is the best luxury travel credit card. So the pros are, first, it permits travel partner points transfer. It also gives you lounge access, airport lounge access via Priority Select card. The Priority Select card is only available to people who hold certain credit cards. Another card on this list is also part of that program. So you cannot just get Priority Select on its own. You can only get Priority Select if you have a credit card that, you know, has a benefit of this Priority Select option. So which basically means you get to go to like lounges, and you can bring, I think, 2 guests with the Priority Select. I think it's actually more valuable than the highest lounge access program that they offer to the public. So it's a great benefit to the Chase Sapphire Reserve card. The third pro is that you actually get 3 times points for any dining and travel. So a best way to maximize that, anytime you go out to eat, this is only for like dining out, not groceries, but anytime you go out to eat or anytime you travel, like, just make sure you use this card for eating out and traveling. That's the best way you can accumulate a lot of points that you can use to either upgrade your ticket, get all the rewards that they offer with this card. Just as a reminder, I will be putting links to these cards in the description below that will give you a list of full benefits. But the Chase Sapphire Reserve by far is my favorite card. The cons with this card, though, is that it has a $450 annual fee. Now that is higher than most cards that I know of. Most cards either have a zero annual fee, or they have like $100 annual fee. But with this card is $450. But there is a silver lining to that, because if you're an avid traveler, you actually get a $300 statement credit. After the annual fee hits your account, you get a $300 travel credit. So if you use your card to, pay for a flight, that $300 goes against that, so then it covers. So then effectively it makes your annual fee $150, which is actually a con but a pro at the same time. They also, another con that has happened recently, I think maybe since 2018, is that they've reduced some of the benefits that have to do with this card. Like they used to have a return policy that was removed as a benefit, which meant like if you wanted to return something and you couldn't, they would give you credit up to $500 in certain categories. I mean, you couldn't buy jewelry and then say they won't take it back. That wasn't included, but certain things that you could not get a refund for, they were going to cover up to $500 2 times a year, but that benefit is gone. They also have reduced their their bonus offer for initial, like when you initially get it. They've reduced it from 100,000 to 50,000. When they first introduced this card a couple years ago, it was a 100,000 point offer for, you know, spending a certain amount within the first 3 months. Which for this card is if you spend $4,000 in the first 3 months, you get 50,000 bonus points in your rewards account for this card. The last con I'm going to mention in this video for this card is that it actually counts, getting this card and getting approved for this card counts against your Chase 524 rule, which means Chase, I guess, noticed that people were turning credit cards for the sake of getting like points, and so they started a rule that says you cannot get approved for more than 5 credit cards in a 24-month span, which is 2 years. And you know, it cut down a lot of the churning that they were doing for points, because people would open these cards, get the points, close it, wait a few months, open it again and get the points again. But Chase caught on and they took that away, and it now counts. There's now that Chase 524 rule. The next card I'm going to talk about is American Express Platinum. There are a few American Express cards out there, but this one is specifically designed for travel. For the pros, when you get this card, you are automatically bumped up to gold status in both the Hilton rewards program and the Marriott rewards program. Now, this basically means you don't have to acquire, you don't have to meet the stay requirement. I think for Marriott, it's like you'd have to have like 25 nights or 20 stays to get to gold status, and you automatically skip that just by getting the credit card, the American Express Platinum. And then for Hilton, I think you'd have to have like 40 nights and like 30 stays or something like that. That would put you into gold status. Just by getting this card, you automatically jump into that higher tier, which means you get late checkout automatically. You get a whole bunch of benefits that people who stayed or used Marriott or Hilton long term would get. So it's a good way to jump the line, basically. Another benefit for this card is that every month you get like a $15 credit for Uber, basically. So if you live in a transient city, that really helps. Or if you travel on a monthly basis, that really helps to, cut down some of your travel expense as far as like commuting in the city that you're visiting or even in your regular city. So it's $15 a month, which equates to about $200 credit per year for this benefit. And I think it's a great benefit because when I travel, especially like to European countries, I do use Uber. Like in Paris, I used Uber exclusively. I don't think I even got onto the metro. So that is a great benefit. The last pro I'm going to talk about for American Express is that you get 5 times points for travel purchases like made directly with the airlines. A lot of people don't know this, but if you actually purchase your travel through American Express Travel, you won't get the same amount of points. Like you have to purchase directly from like the travel sites like Airbnb and American Airlines or any of that, which I find kind of odd. I would think if they say 5 times travel, it's just 5 times travel, period, travel purchases. But that is not the case, so keep that in mind. The next thing is that I'm going to talk about is the cons for the American Express card. First of all, it has a $550 annual fee. I don't know about you, but that is high. And I feel like with all the other benefits, like if you look in the link in the description, I think if you're into travel and you travel a lot, I think it's a justified cost. I mean, you get access to like events, and you get access, if you like luxury things and luxury travel, it is still a good card, even with that 550 credit. I think it also gives you like a Saks $100 credit, or $50 every semi-annually, so you get it twice a year and you get $100. So if you're into luxury purchases, you're gonna get your 550 back. But it is probably the highest annual fee that I know of for a regular level, not regular, but like a card that's easily accessible to the public. They do have the Black American Express card, which is now called the American Express Centurion, whatever. You know what I mean? The black card, the Black American Express, that annual fee is probably well over $1,000. I think the last time I checked it was $1,500. Also, after the 550, the other con I have listed here is that it's probably the hardest of the three credit cards I'll be talking about today to get, because it's not going to be a card that you can get right out of college or when you don't have any credit. It's going to be a harder card to get. They probably want people who make more money or who have a longer history, who, you know, have a lot more available credit in their other credit cards. So just keep that in mind. If you get declined, if you apply for this card and you get declined, like it's probably the harder card to get. I've heard that some people will apply for the lower level cards like the American Express Gold and use that and keep that card for like a year or two, and then apply for American Express Platinum, because that gives them a better chance of being approved because they already have another American Express product. But I don't know. I don't have this card yet, but it is the next card I plan to get, probably before I go to Paris, in order to like be able to use the $5,000 minimum spend in order to get the 60,000 points, which is the promotion they have currently. So, I mean, my credit is pretty good. I do have the Chase Sapphire Reserve card, and I strictly use it for travel and for dining out, just so I can maximize the points. But before we go off on the tangent, the last con I'm going to talk about for American Express is that you have to keep in mind that this credit card is not accepted everywhere. Amex, I believe, charges a higher like processing fee to vendors. So like you're not going to find it in a small store in, I don't know, some European country and being accepted. They're going to not accept it because they don't have the incentive to accept cards that are going to charge them more for credit card processing. So I would keep that in mind. I have checked that American Express is accepted in like the higher end stores like the Harrods, the Louis Vuitton all over the world, and all kinds of other like high end places that, you know, can afford to pay the processing fees. They could care less. All they want you to do is spend your money. So that covers it for American Express Platinum. The last card I'm going to talk about is Capital One Venture Card. I don't have this card either, but I've heard great things about it from friends who have the card and who travel a lot. It does, starting with the pros, it does have easier approval odds, meaning like if you have, you know, regular credit, you may be able to get approved for this card. The other pro that it has is that it has the lowest annual fee of the three cards I'm talking about today. Initially, you get a $0 annual fee for the first year, and then after that, it's $95 a year. Another pro is that you get 2 times points on any purchase, on every purchase, and currently right now, they have a 10 times points on travel purchases until January 2020. So if you're watching this video before January 2020 and you want a travel card, this is a great starter travel card that you are not going to have like pristine credits to get. So it might be a good time to get it before January 2020. So I'm going to get into the cons of this card. Like I said, I don't have this card. This is just purely from research. out of the three, from my, trying to do the calculations for what these points are worth, it probably has the least points value. It's not really like, it doesn't have like those luxury luxury benefits, because the other two cards I mentioned, you get like gold status with American Express, like I said. With both American Express and Chase Sapphire Reserve, you get you get added benefits in certain hotel chains that are luxury, like the Luxury Collections hotels, and you get like a separate website where you can go in, put in your credit card number, and that qualifies you to go in there and get, added benefits like continental breakfast with the stay every day for 2 people, or late checkout, or getting to check in separately, not with the general public, where you actually go into a separate room and you have concierge serve you one-on-one in their signature collection rooms. So benefits like those, you're not going to get access from getting this Capital One Venture card. But if you were to get this card first and then get one of the other twos next, it would probably like help you get your approval odds up on the other 2 cards. So I just basically said the second con, which is you do not get access to Luxury Collection hotels added benefits. You can still go to luxury hotels. You're just not going to get the added benefits by booking onto the special sites that give you access to benefits that are only for cardholders of the other 2. It also counts, I don't know why I said that. This is not a Chase card. I said it counts against the 524 rule, but no, it doesn't. So Capital One credit card, I guess I could only come up with 2 cons, so I will just go with that. I think that's it for pros and cons for these three credit cards. Now I'm going to get into things to note about all 3 credit cards that will help you in your decision to either apply for one of these, 2 of these, or all 3. I don't know. Let that be your journey. Just keep in mind that every time you apply for a card, it does hit your credit score. For all 3 cards, it will require good to excellent credit to get approved. These are not starter credit cards in the sense that it's your first credit card. Capital One is good at approving credit cards for people who have no credit. I will say that. That was my first credit card, was a Capital One. I can't remember, was it Platinum? No, it was a lower level. I can't even remember, to be honest. It was because I've changed since then. They gave me an upgrade option and I took it because it had like other added benefits that my previous starter credit card did not have. So if you have no credit history, or you're starting out like repairing your credit history, Capital One is probably your best bet to get approved. So like I was saying, for Capital One Venture card, I said it's a great starter travel credit card, not a great starter credit card, in the sense that if you had a few of the credit cards that are not travel related, it's a good way to get into the game of credit cards, travel credit cards, without the really high requirements of both the Chase Sapphire Reserve and the American Express Platinum. The next thing you should note is that all three of these credit cards actually will give you statement credit for the global entry or /TSA programs. Now, I always tell people, if you're going to apply for TSA, points are basically, TSA program is basically like, you get to skip the line, go into the shorter line. You don't have to take off your shoes or take your electronics out of your bag in order to go through security. But if you pay for TSA pre, you're paying $85. Global entry includes TSA pre, so you might as well get global entry, and global entry is $100. So for $15, you get the benefit of being able to expedite through customs back into the US when you travel internationally. That's global entry, because you're already pre-screened. They know where you live, they know who you are, they have your fingerprints stored. So all you do is scan your fingerprint, show your card that you get for global entry, and you are done with customs. So I feel like that is a much better option. Go for global entry. You get both global entry for international flights and you get TSA pre. The other thing to note about all three of these credit cards is that they offer bonus points initially, but you have to meet the minimum purchase requirements within a certain period of time. So make sure when you're applying for any 3 of these credit cards that you read the bonus points offer. So if you don't see it, you gotta look for it. Let's see. All 3 credit cards also have no foreign transaction fees. They also have no foreign transaction fees, which are really important because a lot of other credit cards and debit cards will charge a foreign transaction fee. So also just keep that in mind. All 3 of these cards, as I mentioned, don't have foreign transaction fees. Best way to maximize the points earning on these cards every month is to make sure that you don't carry balances. These cards are made for travelers. If you are not like an avid traveler, don't even waste your time. And by avid, I mean you travel at least twice a year, okay? And when you do travel, you spend a decent amount of money that makes like using these cards like useful or beneficial basically. Otherwise you end up paying for the annual fee. You get a $300 credit card, travel credit card credit like for Chase Sapphire Reserve, and you don't use it. I literally got charged the $450 and I booked a flight like I think the same week where I paid for an Airbnb or something, and I got the money right back. Let's see. Like I said, the last thing to note, like I've just said, is these are travel credit cards. I personally travel once every quarter, and so for me, I plan on getting the American Express Platinum card, as I said, but I'm trying to time it for my next big expensive trip that will require me to, where it would be easier for me to meet the minimum purchase requirements for American Express. But anyway, I will now get into my resources because all this information did not come from my head. It came from great resources, which I think you guys should note because it's really important to have great resources for like researching certain credit cards. You shouldn't just be applying for credit cards without doing any research. So I have 3 main sources. One is NerdWallet. This is for credit card information. You can find the information about loans, about all kinds of fun stuff on there, doing with like financial instruments, basically, like credit cards and loans and all that. And then I also go to the points guide, but this is more geared towards credit cards for travel and how to maximize the points that you do get for those travel points, basically those reward points. And then I also use upgraded points. Upgraded points is great for explaining how you can use your credit card points to either get an upgraded flight or to purchase your entire flight on points only. So like, my plan for Paris is to basically buy a premium economy flight and then use the points for my Chase Sapphire Reserve to upgrade to business class. See, the cash dollar value of that upgrade is huge. I mean, I think premium economy might be $1,100, but business class is like $4,000. So if I use my points to bridge that gap, I only am out $1,100 and I still get to sit in business class and lay down. So, I mean, these are good places to look. If you're more looking for information for credit cards, there's also creditcards.com, and even sometimes it's just a simple Google search with the specific question. It goes a long way. Okay guys, I know this video was longer than I intended, but I hope I was able to provide a lot of information. This is something I'm really passionate about. I'm passionate about personal finance and bags apparently, and luxury travel apparently, but it's all fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this video enough to like it and to subscribe. What is my next video about? I don't know yet, but you're gonna find out next week. Thank you guys. Have a great week. Bye.